I'm Elon Musk, and when people ask me about education and why I keep trying to break it and rebuild it, I usually smile because the truth is I was never very good at fitting into the traditional system. And that discomfort followed me from South Africa to Canada to the United States, through physics textbooks, programming manuals, factory floors, and rocket assembly bays. And what I learned early on is that education, as it's commonly practiced, often optimizes for obedience instead of understanding, for memorization instead of first principles. And that's a problem if you want to solve hard problems like making humanity multiplanetary or transitioning the world to sustainable energy. So this initiative didn't start as a polished plan. It started as frustration, watching incredibly smart people get filtered out, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they didn't thrive in a one-size-fits-all classroom. And I kept thinking, why are we teaching kids to memorize answers when the internet already remembers everything? Why aren't we teaching them how to think, how to question, how to deconstruct a problem down to its fundamental truths and build it back up from scratch? Because that's how rockets work. That's how electric cars work. That's how life works. And when my kids were young, I looked at their schools and realized they were learning at the pace of the slowest chapter, not at the pace of their curiosity. So I started an experiment. Small at first, just a few students, no grades, no age-based classrooms, no pointless homework, just intense focus on critical thinking, ethics, engineering, math, physics, computer science, and storytelling. Because humans are narrative creatures, and if you can't communicate an idea, you might as well not have it. And I told the teachers, don't teach tools, teach problems. Don't say, today we learn a wrench. Say, today we need to fix this machine. And let the students discover the wrench on their own, because discovery hardwires knowledge in a way rote learning never will. And as the initiative grew, the philosophy became clearer. Education should feel like solving a mystery, not serving a sentence. It should reward curiosity, not punish deviation. And it should be adaptable, because the world is changing faster than any curriculum committee can keep up with. AI, robotics, space exploration, energy systems. These fields don't care where you went to school. They care whether you can reason under uncertainty and keep going when things fail, and they will fail a lot. So resilience became a core subject, not as a slogan, but as practice. Letting students fail safely, analyze why, and try again. Just like we do at SpaceX when a rocket explodes, and everyone learns more from that fireball than from a perfect launch. And people often ask me, is this about creating geniuses or elites? And the answer is no. It's about removing artificial ceilings. It's about giving every mind the chance to operate at its natural bandwidth, whether that leads to engineering, art, biology, or something we haven't invented yet. And I don't think education should be divorced from reality. So students engage with real-world problems, energy efficiency in their own buildings, basic robotics, ethical dilemmas around AI, simulations of Mars habitats, because when learning connects to the real world, motivation stops being a problem. And yes, this approach challenges existing institutions, but innovation always does. Cars challenged horses, rockets challenged the idea that space was unreachable, and this initiative challenges the assumption that school must look the same as it did 100 years ago. My long-term vision is simple but ambitious. Create an education model that scales globally, that uses technology intelligently rather than lazily, that personalizes learning without isolating students, that emphasizes truth-seeking over credential collecting, and that prepares people not just to get jobs, but to solve the problems that threaten civilization itself: climate change, misinformation, existential risk, because the future doesn't need more test takers, it needs builders, thinkers, and people who are comfortable staring at a hard problem and saying, okay, let's figure this out from first principles, and if this initiative succeeds, it won't be because of my name, it will be because we finally aligned education with how humans actually learn, and that to me is one of the most important missions of all. And as this education initiative evolved, I realized something else that most systems ignore. Learning is not linear, it's iterative and sometimes chaotic, just like engineering. And yet, schools often pretend knowledge comes in neat chapters with tidy endings, when in reality understanding comes from circling a problem repeatedly from different angles. So we redesigned the experience to be modular, flexible, almost like software updates for the brain, where students can move faster in areas they grasp intuitively and slow down where depth actually matters, and age stopped being the primary organizing principle, because a 12-year-old who understands orbital mechanics shouldn't be held back by a calendar, just as an 18-year-old struggling with algebra shouldn't be rushed forward for appearances. And this led to another uncomfortable but necessary idea. Credentials are a poor proxy for competence. So instead of grades, students build portfolios, real evidence of thinking, projects that fail and improve, code that runs, designs that break and get fixed, essays that evolve through argument and counter-argument. Because in the real world, nobody asks what your GPA was when the engine fails at launch, minus 30 seconds. They ask whether you can solve the problem, and that mindset changes everything. It removes fear and replaces it with responsibility, and responsibility is far more motivating than external pressure. And I also wanted ethics deeply embedded, not as an afterthought, because technology without ethics is just power without direction. So students debate real moral dilemmas, autonomous vehicles, AI decision-making, space colonization, resource allocation, and they're encouraged to disagree respectfully but rigorously, because truth emerges from collision, not comfort. And I've seen firsthand that when young people are trusted with serious questions, they rise to the challenge, they don't become reckless, they become thoughtful. And technology plays a role here, but not as a crutch. AI tutors adapt to individual learning styles, simulations replace outdated lab equipment, global collaboration becomes normal rather than exceptional. But screens never replace thinking. They amplify it, and the goal is not to produce perfect students, but anti-fragile learners. People who get stronger when stressed, who can update their beliefs when new data appears, who aren't emotionally attached to being right, because progress depends on the willingness to be wrong and correct course. And that's a lesson I learned over and over again, from failed startups to rockets that didn't make it off the pad. And another core belief driving this initiative is that learning shouldn't end at graduation. So, the model extends into lifelong education, micro-learning, rapid reskilling, constant intellectual renewal, because the half-life of knowledge is shrinking, and the future belongs to those who can learn faster than the world changes. And when critics say this is unrealistic or too ambitious, I usually respond that sustainable energy, reusable rockets, and global satellite networks were also called unrealistic until they weren't. And education deserves the same level of ambition we apply to physics and engineering. Because at the end of the day, the limiting factor of human progress isn't resources, it's understanding. And if we can design systems that help more people think clearly, reason honestly, and act responsibly, then we dramatically increase our odds of navigating the future successfully. And that's really what this initiative is about. Not prestige, not disruption for its own sake, but alignment. Aligning how we teach with how humans actually learn and how the future actually works. And if we get that right, the ripple effects will be enormous, because every breakthrough starts with a mind that was allowed, encouraged, and equipped to ask better questions.